changing the sales game on webtalkradio.com. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. You know, I'm excited that you're joining us this week. Here's the deal. As you listen to the show, you know, my guests and I, we get whenever we hear that word change, right? In this case, it's about sales and business and career. We freak out a little bit. So to help you navigate change, because I don't know about you, but when change happens in my world, I'm dealing with other humans. So to help you communicate a little more effectively with those other humans in your world, in the show notes, you'll find a link to my communication style assessment. You get 2 reports. One spotlights your natural superpowers. Important to know how your message is landing kind of naturally for you. Flip side, your lowest score, you'll get the second report, which really shines a light on potential communication blind spots you may have. So again, take that test, take that quiz. Link is in the show notes for you. My gift to you. Now, to set the stage for my guests and my conversation, my quote today is by Handley, and she says, even when you're marketing to your entire audience or customer base, you're still simply speaking to a single human at any given time. You know, and anybody that knows me, I say this all the time, sales and marketing, they're not the same thing. They support each other. Let's say they're married together, but marketing gets people to agree to speak with you, while I believe sales gets you, the client or prospect, to actually buy from you. And they support each other, right? Back and forth. So my expertise in sales, and I've had to and continue to hire people to help me anytime I pivot, change my business in some way. I need to go to my marketing peeps because that is not my zone of genius. Now, today, who is the zone of genius with this topic? His name is Andy Neary. Now, Nandy, right now, I'm going to call you Nandy now, Andy. Andy is a former professional baseball player, a two-time Ironman finisher, a business coach, and the founder of Complete Game Consulting, combining the skills and talents he used to compete in professional baseball and Ironman. Andy's mission is to help business and insurance professionals succeed in their careers and lives. Now, he helps insurance professionals target the right audience at the right time, and his programs help people cultivate the off-field habits, mindset, and rituals that lead to all-star performance. So, Andy, thank you so much for being on and sharing your zone of genius with us today.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, and it's an important one, right? You know, we talk about sales, especially the insurance world. People need insurance. God forbid, fill in the blank, whether it's personal or business. We want to protect our assets, right? Mm-hmm. So first question for you, kiddo. What lessons did you learn during your time in the Milwaukee Brewers organization, right?
Yeah, this plays, it's the focus of one of my main keynote talks I give. If you're not willing to get a kid attention and all you're trying to do is fit in, somebody else is going to get the attention. And when I was in pro baseball, that was my problem. I was a free agent. I was not a high draft pick. And when I got there, I had that little feeling of imposter syndrome. I didn't feel like I belonged, and all I wanted to do was fit in. And in a world where you're getting judged every day by scouts, if you're not standing out, they're not seeing you.
Yeah.
And when you're a free agent, it's easy to cut a guy like you. And that was really the biggest lesson I learned that I apply to my business today is sales is a game of attention, Connie. And as noisy as the market is today, no matter what you're selling, if you're not getting the attention, somebody else is. And so that is probably the biggest lesson I had to learn coming out of pro baseball. It's the reason my career only lasted a couple years is because I didn't work hard to get the attention I needed from the scouts to keep advancing.
Yeah, it's a skill. It's just like anything
100%.
else, right? That was a life skill, and now you learned it maybe the hard way, but you're using it to advance your business, which is just brilliant, right? And it's funny too, right, Andy? I know you probably have learned this, but every time we have a failure, a misstep, or something we could have done better and look back and go, ugh, I missed that opportunity, because it wasn't a missed opportunity because you're learning from it. So that's just a beautiful new opportunity you're creating for yourself using those past experiences, right? So I always say we're stacking skill all the time, whether you realize it or not. But if we can really tap in, navigate it with discernment, now we're making good choices and we're 100%. Really streamlining the effort, hopefully to get to be more successful. 100%. What are some of the common mistakes that you see insurance agencies make, maybe agencies and then the agents? I don't know if there's a double-edged sword with this question.
When it comes to sales?
Yeah.
Number one,
Well, marketing. Let's talk marketing because
Yeah,
that's
they're
your
not
zone of
getting enough
genius.
attention. That's number
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Number
I
one.
jokingly say during my keynotes, and it's the truth. How many agencies I've heard tell me, Andy, we're the best kept secret in town. I'm like, yeah, that's bad. Because that means nobody knows you exist. And the marketing, though, the challenge we have in the insurance industry, Connie, from a sales marketing perspective, is number one, our training is outdated. We're still teaching producers how to sell like we did in 1995. And so much has changed with technology, having an online presence, right? So, number one, the training's got to shift on helping producers win in 2024.
Yes.
The second challenge is we don't know who our ideal market is. You have a lot of agencies that feel they can serve everybody, and it's the reason nobody sees them.
Yeah.
If you're going to grow a business today, again, whether it's insurance or any other industry, you need to become known for one thing. When people think of it, they think of you. And so I encourage more agencies and producers to get narrow, know exactly who you're going after. We help producers and agencies answer three questions clearly. Who are you going after? What are you saying to them? And where are you saying it? And the third challenge right now is the marketing message itself.
Yeah.
They're spending too much time talking about themselves, why they're the greatest thing, why they're the best agency, the biggest agency. Nobody cares. Your buyers want to know what's in it for them.
Yeah.
And so if more agencies would just pivot their message 180 and talk about their prospect story instead of their own, their marketing would be returning such a higher ROI than it is today.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I started my sales career in insurance 40 years ago. So 1983 to be exact.
Nice.
So here, yeah. So everything was analog, dude. Like we didn't have LinkedIn and all these other cool platforms. But here's interesting. Now, remember, I was a kid, graduated college, no idea what I wanted to do. A friend of mine was selling insurance, making money. And he said to me, you have a good personality. You should do insurance too. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. That was truly the thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's how most of us got into business.
Say that again.
That's how most of us got into business.
Truly, because we knew someone, right? And it was good money. That's what and when I was in my 20s, what were you seeking? Money. So anyway, I went, got my licenses, started selling, and my manager was horrific. It was exactly what you were saying. It was the old way of selling. So what you just said, and I'm going to be honest with you, I never thought of it this way, Andy. I went in and I sat with my first client where I went out alone. I didn't have my sales manager with me training. He was a blue collar worker, him and his wife, 2 kids. God forbid something happened to him. He was the sole breadwinner. He needed life insurance, but I could tell they did not have money. So I said to him, look, I want to give you the insurance, but it's going to lapse. You're going to spend $500-$600 over the next few months. And then you're not going to have the insurance. You're going to be out a few $100s. That's not okay. Let me get you on a budget. I was going for my MBA at night in finance. My undergraduate was finance. I said, let me just teach you some basic budgeting things. And then when you put the insurance in place, it won't lapse. So fast forward, we do that, gets the insurance, keeps the insurance. Now he's on a budget. They're saving the whole thing. He started referring all of his blue collar friends to me. Now, this was the interesting piece of the puzzle. I never thought about, I went a mile deep with blue collar because I didn't go in for the sale. I was known as, she's really smart with finance stuff. You'll learn from it. And oh, by the way, not only will you get the insurance, she'll teach you how to save. So now you could save for college and other things for the kids. Never, that was not my intent. It's just where I navigated from, I guess, intuitively. And that's what I became known for. So that I think is supporting what you just said, if I understood
100%.
correctly.
And there's actually another lesson there, Connie. Not only did you get narrow and not realize it, that you became kind of a niche within the blue collar workforce. The reason that guy wanted to refer everybody to you is you delivered so much value beyond the life insurance policy.
Yeah.
And I think that's another important lesson with marketing. We use a phrase here: when you give away the farm, you reap the harvest, because marketing today is not about, I'm going to tell you only so much until you hire me. No. You've got to give everything away for free, because that's how people are going to hire you. The more value you bring in your marketing, the more business you're going to get, because people, this is a lesson I learned from a mentor of mine. People come for the information, they pay for the application.
Yeah.
So teach as much as you have to teach in your marketing, to the point where your buyers could almost do it themselves, but they're still going to need somebody to do it. And then you're the person they're going to hire when you give all that information away for free.
Yeah, because you positioned yourself as the expert and
100%.
you care. Again,
Yes.
it's all about that trust. It's all about the relationship foundationally. And I'm telling you, Andy, in 40 years, 4 decades, that has not changed. It's always about the human. And the funny thing is, when I came back and I didn't make that sale, that first one, you're an idiot, you're a moron. I mean, he berated me like, and I thought, dude, I'm doing me. I don't need this aggravation. And ironically, now you have to remember, we were buying lists. Everything was analog phone calls. People hung up the whole thing. You got, you didn't even get answering machines. I didn't even know that we had them back then. But within 5 years, I was living off of referrals. I didn't have to make any more cold calls. So the proof is in the pudding, right? So my sales manager was a moron. I played the game right. Again, intuitively, not knowing that I was doing it correctly, right? So now there's no excuse today, in my opinion. There's so much information and resources like what you're doing with your company. There's no excuse for people not to be successful in
Well,
insurance.
you just made me think of something I don't know if I've ever thought of before. What we do today at Complete Game Consulting is we help people create awareness for who they are
Mm,
and build a brand that the prospects respect
mm,
so they do business with them.
mm.
But really what this is, to your point, is a game. It's a chase to referrals, because the one type of business or producer that really doesn't need our help is if you're at a point in your career, you are 100% referrals and you are still growing at a very good clip with that. You don't need any help. You're sitting in the best position. The quickest path to cash is referrals.
Yeah.
But if this is a game of how to get to referrals as quickly as you can, what are you going to do now to make sure that happens? Picking up the phone and calling people one at a time when cold calling is harder than it's ever been, does not work.
Yeah.
You will not get to a referral business anytime soon. But you know what will? Creating an online presence, creating marketing that delivers so much value that
Yes.
people, as Gary V, a New Jersey guy, Gary Vaynerchuk says, you will literally guilt people into doing business with you. That's how you get to referrals quicker than anything.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? And I never thought of it that way too. But that's and even if you continue with your other marketing, cold call, whatever the other, bringing in like new business beyond the referrals, you have all this passive income coming in. So think about if you could build your business around that, you're golden, and you could do it really, really quickly. Here's another question. I know you share with your business. There's 4 pillars for effective marketing. Can you talk about that? Because I think that even grounds it further than we're kind of in the air a little bit here.
Yeah, we call it the complete game marketing playbook. The 4 pillars are clarity, content, capture, and convert. So clarity is you got to know who you're going after. What's your brand? How do you want the market talking about you? Who are you targeting? And what are you saying to them? The content pillar is very positioned on where. Where are you going to put the message to get as much exposure as you possibly can in the shortest amount of time? We call it exponential awareness.
Yeah.
How do you get one post, one message, one piece of marketing in front of hundreds or thousands of eyeballs at one time? Capture is how you're generating leads, right? In the insurance industry, historically, it's been just go buy a list of leads and then hammer them with phone calls. Well, that's not as effective as anymore. How are you actually capturing quality leads where people are coming to you? And then the convert is the sales process. What are you doing today to stand out in your sales process? It's not about the closing techniques. And no. It's building a clear process that is easy for you to take a prospect through and get them to the finish line. So we believe as somebody follows those 4 pillars, they're going to open more doors with the right prospects, which already is going to create better sales conversations. And they're going to put themselves in the position to win the most amount of business with the least amount of prospects. And that's really what we're trying to help people do. I want you to grow and win more business with less opportunities because your closing rate is so high and because you're talking to the right people all the time.
Well, garbage in, garbage out, right? You have good quality stuff coming in. You're working so much less and you're making so much more money. I mean, that's the name of the game, but we have to refine what we're doing. People want the end result without understanding. Well, wait a minute. Here's a flaw in the plan. Here's another flaw in your game plan here. Let's make these changes. And usually, I bet, Andy, there are little tweaks that you have to make when you come in. They have a lot of the content and stuff already curated. Now it's just tweaking it, right?
100%. It starts with knowing who you're going after. And in our industry, that who has always been demographics. What industry are they in? How big are they in? How much money do they, how much revenue they generate? The gold's in the psychographics. Look at your favorite clients today. Who are these people between the ears? What do they think? What do they stand for? How do they make decisions? What do they believe? They're your favorite because you and them are psychographically aligned. We do business with people like us.
Yes.
So get really clear on who these people are and then use those psychographics in your marketing, because guess who's going to start raising their hand?
Yeah.
And then you have to pair that with a marketing message that
Yeah.
tells their story, not yours.
This is fascinating to me because, again, when I was in insurance, psychographic, I don't even know that that was a word, let alone, trust me, they were not using it. The people that I was working for, right? That was not happening. But it's interesting when my husband and I got married, a florist, she was one of my clients, and I become friends with my clients. So it goes back two things that I want to comment on. Everybody really understands this. You finding the values, that the same values. They were my people. She had a son who was a little bit older than me, and they were loving to me, very loving. And so when we got married, she did my flowers. People were coming from the hotel to see the flowers. That's how gorgeous they were.
That's
And when I
cool.
tell you, she charged me because she lent me the vase and this and that and that. So she says, don't pay for that. All I'll charge you for is the flowers. Additionally, her sister and brother-in-law were photographers, and they came and they did. So you reap so many rewards when you show up with kindness, authenticity, and honesty. So they were my people. Fast forward, now I have corporate clients, and the CEOs or the division heads, they're my friends because I don't know how to do business anyway, because we're simpatico. We're the same. Our values are the same. So you're finding your people. So here's the deal. It becomes a heck of a lot more fun too to work and run the business, right?
You said it's my people. You know, here's what's really interesting. You said earlier that you realized you had a niche in blue collar. Had nothing to do with blue collar. Your people just happen to be in the blue collar jobs.
Yeah.
And that's really where it comes, because again, we want to classify prospects demographically, blue collar, manufacturer. No. It just happens to be a commonality where your people exist. Go find where your people are. And that's why psychographics are so important.
Right. Well, and that's true. Even though I wasn't blue, quote unquote blue collar, the values of these people, he wanted to take care of his family. I got that at the core. And I thought, I have to help him. I have all this education. I have to help him. That is my responsibility.
Yep.
I took it seriously because he wanted to protect his family. For me, that was it. That was all I needed to hear. I was with him, right? I was on board. I never
100%.
thought of that either. Wow, you have my synapses firing here, brother. Another question. So let's talk about the insurance agency. If they wanted to build a really good marketing plan from scratch, would they start with those four pillars? Is there something else to get them out of the old school way of thinking?
Yeah, great question. The first thing is going back, answer these three questions clearly. Who are you talking to? What are you saying? And then where are you going to put that message to get their attention? So the who is the ideal prospect. We talked about the psychographics, the golds and the psychographics. Get really clear on who your ideal fit is, because you can't and should not serve everybody. Two, you got to build a marketing message that's geared for them, not built around your agency's history or philosophy.
Okay.
And the easiest way to think about marketing is storytelling. There's a book that changed my career called Building a Story Brand. And in that book is where I uncovered the storytelling formula they use to craft good marketing, which is there's a hero who has a goal, but has a problem keeping them from the goal. And when they uncover the fact they have a problem, they need a guide with a plan to help them overcome failure and achieve success, right? That's storytelling thousands of years old. If you take that formula and you apply it to your marketing by telling your prospect story, they're the hero, not you. You're going to get more attention from the right people. And then where you're going to put it, here's where you have to focus these days. I'm sorry. Making 500 cold calls a week is not as effective as it used to be.
Yeah.
But putting a message out in front of hundreds of people at one time, whether that's on social media, public speaking, podcasts, webinars, emails, you name it. Gary Vee says it. You've got to become a media company that happens to sell insurance.
Yes.
The more you put that message out to the masses, the more awareness you're going to create for who you are. By the way, the better online presence you're going to build for your agency. Because here's the facts, Connie. Before somebody decides they're going to hire you these days, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go to Google and they're going to look you up. My question is, what are they going to find?
Yes.
Because if they find a lot, you've got the credibility and they've got the confidence they can hire you. That's the name of the game today. And that's what we're on a mission to help more agencies do. They're simply not winning enough business because not enough prospects know they exist.
Yeah, and that's just sad, especially if they really are the best kept secret, where they're coming from that authenticity and honesty and integrity and all those things
Yep.
that, come on, I grew up in the insurance industry and the financial industry for 4 decades. We're looked at as slimy and,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
well, what was the movie? I think it was in the 90s, Glengarry Glen Ross, always be closing. Disgusting.
Yes.
We have to pivot that whole mindset
Yes.
because it's really, really outdated. Let's talk about LinkedIn for a minute. So, insurance producers themselves, I know because we're licensed, right? There's limiting things and all of that, but there's a lot you could post out there that isn't a recommendation to a product, but share information like I shared, getting the blue collar gentleman and his family on a budget, right? That's the kind of thing we're talking about. So how can insurance producers use LinkedIn to create business opportunities without, and here's the big one, Andy, I get it all. Hey, I sell insurance. I'd love
Yeah.
10 minutes of your time to pick your
Yes.
brain. Doing market. It's like, just stop. Right. So how can we use LinkedIn truly effectively?
Do you mind if I give you your audience a LinkedIn crash course in 2 minutes?
Go for it, brother.
We call it the LinkedIn Diamond Playbook. 4 things. Number one, profile. Your profile's got to be prospect friendly. What does that mean? One, please have an accurate profile photo that is actually you. Two, your banner behind your picture. Think of that like an electronic billboard. That's a chance for you to tell people what you do and who you do it for. 3, under your name, what we call the headliner statement. That's where a lot of people put their job title in the company they work for. Get rid of that. I can already find that in other areas of your profile. Use the headliner to tell me what you do and who you do it for.
Yeah.
Because your profile is your personal website. I need to know within seconds if you can help me. And that headline statement under your name is going to tell me do that. And then the last thing is, if you've got one of the premium subscriptions now, you can put a call to action button in your profile where people can actually put themselves on your calendar. Make it easy for people to do business with you. That's the profile.
Well, can I just comment? Because if they're looking to their LinkedIn people for insurance, I need insurance. Where do I go? I don't know. Let me check on LinkedIn. People who are connected to me. It's usually a very good first start.
Yep.
So if they have that calendar link, right? Again, with all the other credibility pieces, wow, I never thought of that.
They can
That's
click,
brilliant.
and all of a sudden you've got a call on your calendar. You're like, how did that happen? Well, it's probably because you put a piece of content on LinkedIn and somebody liked it.
Nice.
The second is the connections. And now this is where you do have to focus on the demographics, because that's the only kind of filters LinkedIn gives you.
Yeah.
Target who are your ideal prospects. You go make connections with these people. Now, the key here, to your point earlier, don't pitch them. Simply ask them, hey, John, I'd like to connect with you here on LinkedIn if you're open to it. That's a non-salesy, less threatening way of making a connection.
Yeah.
Now, the little ninja tip here, Connie, is when they accept, I'd be using my phone app version of LinkedIn, because did you know you can send voice messages?
Yes.
I'd send the person a voice message saying, hey, thank you for accepting my message. If you need anything, feel free to reach out. I hope you enjoy my content. Now you're giving them a heads up you create content, which is step 3, post content. Your content has 2 jobs: create thought leadership, be very clear about who you're targeting, and build likability. Let people get to know you a little bit. Because if you build likability and credibility with your content, now you're drawing people towards you, which leads to the final step, which is the war is won in the direct messaging. If you want to turn connections into sales conversations, you do have to send DMs to people. But say, hey, I hope you've been enjoying my content. We wanted to know if you'd be open to jumping on a call. Let the content do the talking for a while, then reach out and make an ask. If you do those 4 things, Connie, you up your profile to make it prospect friendly, connect with the right people, post content that builds credibility and likability, and then use the DMs to turn those connections into sales conversations, you will use LinkedIn the right way.
And the other thing too, Andy, when I teach, like when they do their value statement, I give them a template and I say, keep adding to it so that you have all these fun facts about you, both professional and personal. So you're going to a conference with CPAs or attorneys or whatever, you can curate exactly the pieces of information that they're going to find or connect with them, more personally. So build it, keep building it. And then it becomes easy because you have all of it in one place. Right. So, but here's the thing. And I give you a good example. I have one young lady, her family owns a farm. I think they're up in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, but their family owns a farm and she's a banker. And so in her value statement, she put from pen to pitchfork or pitchfork to pen. And I said, yes. And in our about section, everybody puts their resume. No, put the essence of who you are, the human. So now everybody, when I teach, I use that example and they go, oh, I don't have anything good. I said, you do have something good. You just have to figure out what's your secret sauce. Hers was from pitchfork to pen. People now, business owners going to look and say, man, this is a family business in farming, salt of the earth people. It speaks volume. All she had to put is her pitchfork to pen. And that's what the visualization shows. So on the about section, right, they really should include the essence of who they are, not their bio.
Correct.
Is that correct?
100%. I even target too. Don't be afraid to tell. I talked about how to build a story about your ideal prospect in the about section. Use it as an opportunity for people to get to know you.
Yeah.
But talk about the kind of business, the kind of people you work with. Tell the story of an ideal prospect, because guys, we're just playing a game here. If a prospect comes to your profile because they saw a post of yours and maybe they're just trying to figure out who you are and they see all this, they're going to go, huh, I like this person and I think they can help me. Oh, by the way, there's a call to action button. Click meeting.
Yeah, crazy. It's simple. We make it more complicated because we get in it right between the ears. That's
well, we also want to know all the algorithm hacks. And guys, there's no algorithm hacks. Post content for your prospects and let them get to know you.
That's it, right? Keep it simple. All right. So now everybody's saying, okay, how do I create enough content to create that volume of interest or that flow of interest? So how do we build the content libraries?
Yeah, if I'm building a content library, if I know who I'm going after and what I want to be known for, what space of the industry do I want to own, I'm going to create content that's vastly around that topic. I'm going to focus on that lane. And in the insurance industry, that could be product specific, strategy specific, whatever it is. Become known for one thing. Now, a couple tips on content. Number one, when you tell personal stories, especially, pictures of you help because it creates facial recognition.
Yeah.
It isn't an egotistical thing. It creates facial recognition. So if you're telling stories, something personal, don't put stock images up there. We want a picture of you. We want to get to know you. But with thought leadership, another really more recent thing, Connie, that I think more people should leverage is LinkedIn newsletters. Because LinkedIn newsletters is a feature that's out there that lets you build thought leadership. And what I really like about newsletters, it's an article. I mean, it's no different than a LinkedIn article, but it's a newsletter that has a name now, and you can actually build subscribers. These are people who are voluntarily saying, I want to get your newsletter.
Wow.
Well, guess what? That's a list of leads. These are people saying, yes, I want to see when you post your articles. I want to get them. And so there's strategies around content. People ask, how frequently should I post? We use a formula here we call it the credibility velocity. Value times volume equals credibility velocity. As long as you are truly helping your prospects and you're not pitching them, the more value you bring in each post, the more often you do it, the faster you are going to build credibility. And I'm going to challenge every one of your audience members, give away the farm.
Yeah, I love that.
Harvest.
Yeah, and we're almost out of time, but how many times do you think people should post to build that kind of credibility?
If you're delivering value, Connie, I know this is a bad answer. You can't post enough. But at a minimum, if you're just getting started, start once a week. I think you've got to go at least once a week. Start with something you can stay consistent with.
Yeah.
And then build from there.
Yeah, do a series if there's something that you just experienced with a client and you can't do it in one article because of the word limits. Do a series. Say, hey guys, I'm going to post a series, a 3-part series. I'm going to break it down this way. Again, now they're looking forward to those potential future leads.
But can I say one more thing? One more thing you brought up with content that's really, really key. You said conversations you're having with prospects. If you struggle to create content, the thought leadership content becomes really easy if you think about it this way. Again, I'm giving credit to Gary Vaynerchuk. I heard him say this. Document, don't create. Think about all the conversations you're having with your prospects and clients right now. What are the questions they're asking? What are the objections they're throwing at you? Or what are the conversations you're having? Use your content to talk about those conversations.
Yeah.
Because that lets people get an inside peek at your world and who you work with and what you talk to them about.
Yeah.
That's great content.
And they see themselves in your story within the
Yes.
content. So there you go. Now, no other insurance agent is doing that, where they're thinking, oh my God, I think he's talking about me or she's talking about me. And now the opportunity, it becomes a really good
Imagine
qualified lead.
walking out of a meeting, you get in your car, you hit record on your phone, you start talking. Hey, just got out of a call or meeting with a prospect. Here's what they were challenged with. And here's what I told them to do. I thought everybody else would want to know this. If you've got a prospect who's listening to that and they go, man, that's our problem too. Now you just gave them a chance to go, wait, that guy just encountered another business like me who had the same problem. And here's what he did for them. Huh, maybe he can help us.
Yes. Yeah. Again, the lines connect very easily.
Yeah.
So we are out of time. I am being mindful because I know you have a hard stop. So thank you so much for just great content. I can't wait to post this show. And again, my heart is in the financial service industry. So I loved the show exponentially. Here's the deal, guys. If you have questions, please reach out to Andy directly. It's Andy at completegameconsulting.com. I will put it in the show notes, and the website, which is andyneary.com. And you have some cool things on the website?
Well, I'd say that's my speaking website. I'd also say feel free to go to completegameconsulting.com, which is where our business site. And everything I just talked to you about, we do on LinkedIn. So at a minimum, make sure we're connected on LinkedIn, which is Andy Neary, Complete Game Consulting, but definitely go check out completegameconsulting.com as well.
Perfect. And I will change that, guys, in the show notes so you can easily find Andy. Check it out, man. He gives a lot of stuff away. It could help you navigate what your next step is to create these content libraries, getting on LinkedIn, whatever it is that's going to work for you. Andy, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your brilliance. See, that was your zone of genius, the marketing.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that got you. Thank you so much. And I hope you will join me weekly as we question, build, and discover together, no matter where you are on changing your sales game. I have cool guests like Andy who come on where they get to share their zone of genius. Listen, here's the deal. Information's a beautiful thing. If you do nothing with it, it's information. Put that information into action. Andy gave you several tips, not just one. Which one felt the most comfortable? Go and do that right now after listening to the show. I promise you, Andy promises you, with action comes reaction, and that's where the magic happens in life. So again, take a tip or two, apply them immediately, and I hope the change that you create is exactly what you're looking for. Thank you again, Andy. Thank you for tuning in. You've been listening to Changing the Sales Game with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.com. Again, I am honored to have you on this journey of changing your sales game with you. Please tune in weekly. And I always hope that my guests and I provide valuable content, valuable ideas, and things that, again, you could put into action. I love you all. I'll see you all next week. Have a great one, everybody. Thanks again, Andy.